Hello students and welcome to the study portal. The topic of today's online session is reagents and solutions preparations that are used in the clinical laboratory. So this topic comes under the subject clinical lab operations and management, right? In the management and operations of the laboratories, right? This is the first unit. So in this unit we are going to study about the preparations of the reagents and the solutions that are basically commonly used in the laboratory. So let's have an overview at the objectives of today's session. So after completion of this chapter or this online session, you will be able to define different terminologies which are related with the reagents and chemicals. You will be able to name the terms which are used, right? And you will be able to know different methods of expression of strength of solution, that how the strength of the solution are expressed, what are the methods that are used, what is normality, what is molality, what is molarity, right? Next you will be able to carry out the different calculations because it is based on the formulas, so you will be able to get about knowledge about the formulas that are used for expressing the strength of the solution, for determining the strength of the solution, etc. Next, you will be able to describe the safe handling of chemicals and reagents, that how the chemicals and reagents should be handled in the laboratory, right? And at last, you will be able to explain about the standard and staining solutions that are used in the laboratory, right? So, without delaying, let's start today's sessions. Right. So first of all, we'll be having this is the outline. We'll be understanding about the definition, the type of solution, right? The expression of the strength of solution, reagent solutions, grade of chemicals, and the standard solutions, right? So let's start. First of all, reagents or solutions used in clinical laboratory. First of all, let's have an overlook about the definitions of the terms solution, solvent, solute. What are these solutions? What are these materials? So first of all, talking about the solution. So solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more components that can be varied in composition within certain limits, right? So we can say that solution is a homogeneous mixture which consists of which is made up of two or more components whose composition can be varying. Like it must be it is not required that the composition should be same. It can vary, right, within a certain limit, right? So every solution has around two parts, right? First one is the solvent and the second one is the solute. So solvent is a substance which dissolves the solute, right? In most cases, the solvent is in the liquid form, right? The solution, the substance in which the other substances mixed, right, is dissolved. That substance is called as the solvent, right? Now, liquid solvents are divided into two types. First one is the polar solvents, which is for example, water, the alcohol, etc. And there are non-polar solvents also, the substances which cannot be dissolved in the water, needs to be dissolved in other substances which are non-solvent, non-polar solvents. So non-polar solvents are generally the solvents which are used when the solutes are not dissolved in water. So these are the chloroform, benzene, ether, CCl4, etc. Right? This is clear to you all? This whole solvent thing. Now talking about the solute. So solute is a substance that has to be dissolved in any solvent, right? It can be solid, liquid or gas. If a solid or gas is mixed with the liquid is considered as solvent, right? Then we have to mix the component such as solid or gas. Then it has to be mixed with the dissolving substance should be liquid. The solvent should be liquid, right? So solute is that substance which we mix in the other dissolving component, such as solvent, right? So if the solution is a mixture of two liquids, the component present in large amount is considered as the solvent. If there are two components present in the mixture, then we can say that the component present in larger amount is the solvent. Right? This is clear. Now talking about the types of solutions. So the solution is generally of three types. It is classified into three types: the solid solution, gaseous solution, and the liquid solution. So what is solid solution? Let's understand. So solid solution is a mixture of two or more solids, right? When two or more solids are mixed together and they are dissolved or mixed randomly throughout one another, resulting in heterogeneous mixture, that kind of solution is called as the solid solution. When you have to mix two or more solid components together, right, they get mixed with each other together, then this type of solution is called as solid solution. The examples are alloys. Alloys are the example of solid solution. Now second type of solution is gaseous solution. So gaseous solution is a homogeneous mixture which is made up of the mixture of two or more gases. For example, air. Talking about air. So air is an example of gaseous solution. It consists of oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide and the other gases as well. Now third type of solution is the liquid solution. So liquid solution is what is liquid solution? It is where the solvent liquid. So the solvent is liquid and the solute that we have to mix is also liquid. The liquid solution is a solution where the solvent is liquid, but the solute can be either solid, liquid or gas. Any of these can be solute. So this is the example. This is the type of liquid solution, right? Now talking about the expression of the strength of the solution. So the expression can be broadly divided into two types: the relative expression of the concentration and the quantitative expression of the concentration, right? So to understand this, we need to understand what is the strength of a solution. So the strength of a solution is defined as the amount of solute present in the solution, present in the amount of solution, right? It is generally expressed as the amount of solute in grams that is present in 1 liter of the solution, right? So to express it, there are two methods. First is the relative expression of the concentration and second one is the quantitative expression of the concentration. So first of all, let's study about the relative expression of the concentration. So the relative expression can be expressed by dilute solution first of all. So what are the dilute solution? So dilute solution are the one where a small amount of solute is dissolved in a large amount of solvent. For example, when you have to mix the 0.0001 m NaOH, sodium hydroxide, or we have to prepare 1% H2SO4. So whenever we are making the mixing the small amount of solute into the large amount of solvent, this type of solution is called as the dilute solution. Next is the concentrated solution. So what we have to do in concentrated solution? The large amount of solute is dissolved in a small amount of solvent. Whenever we have to make the concentrated solution, the solute should be present in the larger amount, whereas the solvent should be present in a smaller amount. For example, the 98% H2SO4. Now the next one is the saturated solution. So saturated solution, what are these? These are the ones in which a given volume of solvent has dissolved all the solute which can under a given condition of temperature and pressure. So when we are mixing a given volume of solvent into the solute, then under given condition of temperature and pressure, this is called as the saturated solution. So saturated solutions is of there is one more classification, that is supersaturated solution. So supersaturated solutions are the ones which hold more solute than it can hold normally at a given temperature and pressure. When the solution is able to hold more solute than it can actually hold, than at a given at a normal given temperature and pressure, then that kind of solution is called as the supersaturated solution. Now second type of expression is the quantitative expression of the concentration of solution. So what do you mean by quantitative? That the concentration is expressed into the number, into some amount or number. So quantitative expression can be the concentration of solution or solution when it is expressed quantitatively in the physical units or the chemical units, right? So what are the physical units in which we can express the concentration of solution? So we can express the concentration of solution in percentages. For example, we told you that you have to prepare the solution of 1% H2SO4. So you are expressing it in the terms of percentages, right? So it is a physical unit. Next is parts per unit. When you are defining the concentration into parts per unit, that for example in air, someone says that there are 2.5 ppm are also present in the air. So parts per unit is also a classification, is also an expression of the concentration of solution. Next physical unit is density. For example, you are telling that how much dense is your blood. Your blood is more dense than water. What is the density of hemoglobin you are telling? So in terms of density also you can express the concentration of solution. Next is the specific gravity. For example, you say that the specific gravity of the blood is 1.008, right? So you are expressing the specific gravity. What is it? The concentration of solution, right? So percentage can be calculated by weight first of all. So it can be a percentage can be expressed in number of terms. First one is the weight by weight percentage, W by W. You must have seen this W by W, W by V and V by V on certain reagents and solutions whenever you will buy them or whenever you will perform different tests from it. So the percentage is expressed as W by W, which is weight by weight, W by V, which is weight by volume, and V by V, which is volume by volume. So what is this? Let's understand. First of all, talking about the percentage by weight by weight. So this is the number of parts of solute by weight per 100 parts solution by weight. For example, one example is also quoted here, that if you have to prepare a 37 gram percent weight by weight HCl, so it means that each 100 gram of hydrochloric solution contains 37 gram of hydrochloride and the rest 63 gram is the solvent. So when you have to make the weight by weight percentage, then the weight that is given, right, it is the weight of the solute and the rest weight is of the solvent, right, which is rest weight minus 100 minus rest weight is of the solvent, right. So this is the calculation of weight by weight percentage. Now talking about the weight by volume. So weight by volume is the number of parts of solvents by weight per 100 parts of solution by volume. For example, if you see that 98 gram percent weight by volume glucose, what does it mean? It means that the solution contains 98 grams of glucose which was dissolved in 100 ml solution. So whenever some number is given against gram percentage weight by volume, then that number is of the solute which was dissolved in 100 ml of the solution, right. Next is percentage volume by volume. When it is given as volume by volume, what does it mean? It is the number of parts of solute by volume per 100 parts of solute. Let's understand with the help of an example. So whenever it is written that 70% volume by volume ethanol, right? So what does it mean? The number that is quoted is of the solute, right? Which is mixed with rest 100 minus rest amount is of the solvent, that is water, right. Whenever the number or the amount that is denoted denotes the number of the parts of solute which is mixed by the volume per 100 parts of the solute. So here 70 is the amount of 70 ml of ethanol which is mixed with 30 ml of water, right? So we will be subtracting the amount from the 100 ml, right? Then we will get the amount of solvent in it. So this is how the percentage is calculated. Now this is an exercise to you. How do you prepare an aqueous solution of 30 gram percent weight by volume sodium hydroxide, right? And how do you prepare the 4 liter of 20% weight by weight trichloroacetic acid? Try to solve these questions and give the answers, right? Now talking about the parts per unit. What is parts per unit? So parts per unit is used to express the number of parts by volume or by weight of the solute per given volume or weight of the solution, right? So to understand this, let's take help of this example. So if 1 ml with ethanol is mixed with 999 ml of water, so to express that number of parts of ethanol, we can say that the ethanol is 1:1000 of that solution, right? So let's understand this, that it is the expression of the number of parts by volume or by weight of solute per given volume. So if you have to prepare any solution, you can say, right, if 1 m is given, then you can say that that amount is the ratio of the number of parts of the solute that is mixed with the weight of solute per given volume, right? Next is the chemical units. So the commonly used chemical units that are used for expressing the quantity of solutes in a given solution are, it can be expressed as mole, equivalence, molarity, normality and molality. Now what is mole? So 1 mole of given substance is its atomic weight or molecular weight expressed in grams. So if you are saying that 1 mole, for example, we said 1 mole of ethanol, right? So 1 mole of ethanol, it means that 1 mole, what is 1 mole? It is the atomic weight or molecular weight of the ethanol which is expressed in the grams, right? So 1 mole is equal to 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 particles of the substance. So if 1 mole of sodium we are referring, then the molecular weight of the sodium is 23 grams, right? So 23 grams is equal to this 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 particles of the substance, right? Now talking about the molar solution or the molarity. That what is molarity, right? So a molar solution is a solution which contains 1 mole of the solution per liter of the solution. When the solute is given as per liter of the solution, then that solution is called as the molarity of the solution or molar solution, which contains 1 gram molecular weight of solute per liter of the solution. How you will calculate the molarity? Molarity is equal to actual mass of the component in grams upon the molecular weight into volume in liter. So it is given as gram per liter, right? So we can say that molarity is the moles of solute dissolved in 1 liter of the solution, right? Molarity is equal to number of moles of solute upon volume of solution in liter, right? Next, talking about the normality. So normality is defined as the number of gram equivalent of solute which is present in 1 liter of the solution. So if 1 gram equivalent hydrosulfuric acid is dissolved in 1 liter of solution, then it is referred to as the normal solution of hydrosulfuric acid or 1 normal H2SO4. So 1 equivalent of substance is its equivalent weight which is expressed in the grams. So the normality is expressed in grams per liter, right? Now talking about the molality, right? So molality, what is molality? Molality is the number of moles of solute which is present in 1 kg of solution. So So molarity is a true concentration unit which is independent of temperature, while the molarity depends on the temperature. So molarity is equal to moles of solute upon weight of solvent in gram into 1000. So molarity is given in number upon kg, right? Now talking about the dilution of the solution. So, dilution is the process by which the concentration of or activity of a given solution is decreased by the addition of solvent. For example, if we have to make the 5% H2SO4, we have to mix the H2SO4 into water or the solvent that is used to mix that particular solute, right? So it is the process where we are decreasing the or reducing the concentration of the given solution, right? So dilution represents the ratio of the concentrated or stock material of the total fine volume of the solution. So we can add diluents into the components such as water or saline or anything which is used to do the dilution. So dilution has two parts, diluents and the solute. Diluents are the one which are the things that are used to dilute or reduce the concentration, and solute is the one of which concentration have. Hello students and welcome to the study portal. The topic of today's online session is reagents and solutions preparations that are used in the clinical laboratory. So this
Good morning all. Today I am taking a class on preparation and maintenance of lab records as well as the overall making how we have to make the record in any aspect. Okay, so in this lecture, today's lecture, I will include the labeling of the sample, marking all the entire, there is an storage, there is an annexure, management of the different type of records like histopathology, how we have to make the report, what is the basic format of test report, and reuse of examination results, and what are the alterations in the report if it is required. Okay, so first of all, I want to just introduce about what is medical record. So medical record is a legal document that is providing a that is chronicle of patient's medical history and care. Physician, nurse, practitioner, nurses, and other members of the healthcare team may make the entries in the medical records. Okay, the medical records includes the variety of type of notes entered over time by the healthcare professionals, the recording, observations, and administration of the drug, therapies, order for the administration of the drug and the therapies, different type of tests, X-rays, and other reports. So, total that is the accumulation of total information that is made by the team members. Okay, so all the team members, they are aware what the treatment is going on, what is next treatment that is planned. Now, the use of the medical records, why it is required? To document the course of patient's illness and communicate between the attending doctors, other healthcare professionals, providing care to the patient, like collection of the health statistics, legal matters, court cases, insurance cases. In this, all these medical records are essential. What should be the component of the medical record? That means the front sheet of the identification submission. Next is a consent for the treatment, legal documents like referral letter, request for the information, etc. Discharge summary, referral slip, admission notes, and clinical progress report, nursing or the nurse's progress report, and operation reports if operation has been performed, and investigations report like X-ray, pathological report, biochemical, microbiological reporting, histopathological reporting, overall all the reports, and order for the treatment and medication form listing the daily medications ordered and given with the signature of the doctor, that is prescribed by the doctor to the nurse, prescribing the treatment and the nurse administering to it. These all records are kept in one file, that is all is necessary for all the team. Now, the following should be written on the medical records folder, that is of we make the nurse and other supervisor make the record, and different things should be written on the medical report folder, like patient's name, patient's medical record number, and year of the last attendance. So, what is the functions of medical record department? For the maintenance of the record, there is a separate room or the separate record center that is always functional, and it's a very important part of every hospital. So, the main function of this department is to filing the medical records and retrieval of the medical records for the patient care and other authorized uses. Next, we can say that completion of the medical records after an inpatient has been discharged or died, coding disease and operation of the patient discharged or having died, evaluation of the medical record services, completion of the monthly and annual statistics, medical legal issues that is related to the release of the patient's information and other legal matters. So, we receive the patient's record in MRD, and in the MRDs, generally the nursing unit keeps the patient record after the discharge of the patient. A list of the patient record is prepared, given to the MRDs with patient care sheet. Okay, that is a sorting of the records, details that are written in his death register, patient record register as per the case sheet, or checking of the record, and if it is yes, if it is no, so MRI conveyed to the nursing unit, it is discharged to the same and returned to the record room. And if it is yes, so MRI is filed the cabinets racks after delivery. Now, the retrieve of the patient record. The retrieve from the file by the concerned person after approval of the MS, that is given MRO. MRO is given to the person, that record is duplicate, note down to the number of the page in form of taken with signature. After the giving the record back, the person signs on the record or the slip. The treating consultation and other clinical doctors, they are authorized to assist to the discharging patient health record chart. The non-clinical doctors and other administrative staff can only assist the chart with the written approval of the medical superintendent. In case of emergencies, that is in the death cases, that is medical legal cases, medical superintendent's written permission is must to assist them. The concerned person from the outside should get a written approval from the patient in order to get a patient's record. In insured cases, the release of such information without the prior consent of the patient for permission, because the patient has waived of his claim on his privilege or at the time of linking the policy with the corporation. Now, sequences of the medical record. It should be like in the different sequence, like information, identification sheet, clinical notes, diagnostic reports, blood transfusion notes, nurse notes, informed consent, and X-ray films that are exposed separately. The completion of the records that are required. The consent from the treatment has been signed by the patient, first number, then the patient identification detail, that is the name and medical record number that are correct or entered on all forms that's mentioned in the file. Doctors have to record all the essential information. Doctor has signed the detailed and all clinical entries. The front sheet has been completed and signed by the attending doctor. Nurses have recorded and signed all the duty notes regarding the condition and care of the patient. All the orders for the treatment have been recorded in the medication from the signed doctor, and medication administration has been recorded and signed. The anesthetic form, if it is it has been completed and signed. The operation unit, in the operation unit, if the operation was taken, patient is gone to the operation form, if any, has been completed and signed. The main condition and the principal diagnosis have been recorded in front sheet. The operation and other procedures have to be recorded in form of front sheet, and the diagnostic report have been attached, and discharge referral summary is duly filled and signed. These all are the papers that is required for the completion of the record. The release of the information, that is MLC case or the court. What are the things which is required? That is of request from the lawyer usually registered and date of receipt of the request record, that is by the hospital administration, that is forwarded to the MRO or the processing. The medical report is located in the patient's signature, that is checked against the signature of the consent form in the medical report. The formation, the all information requested is identified, and attending doctor is asked to write a report. A pre-designed form may be used. That means if discharge summary is already in the medical record, so it is checked if it is included in the all requested information. A copy is made that will save in the doctors having to write a new report. The MRD may have to write a brief letter acknowledged to the request of enclosing the doctor's report. In some hospitals, with some complement slip is also used instead of the letter form of the MRO. The letter, that is of with complement slip, receipt and accounts if required, are sent to the lawyer, and a copy of each document is filled in the correspondence section of the medical report. The MRO notifies the hospital administration that this report has to be signed. A lot of formalities are there for the making the different type of records. If the case are medical legal, and if the case is of death cases, so there are required a lot of formalities for making the medical records. So the preparing the medical records for the court, the receipt is subpoena, and MRO records the date and the time of subpoena was received and recorded in the daily and dates and time in the medical records in the court. The MRO should notify the attending the doctors and hospital administration that the subpoena has been received for a release in the medical record to the court. The MRO should locate the medical record. If the medical record is not on the file, the MRO should file it and keep it at a safe place, awaiting the preparation for the court. A tracer is made out showing that the medical record with MRO or medical legal process. The MRO should be checked all the necessary information as specified in the subpoena. It is a medical record and it is complete. The medical record is also given in the duplicate form. The page number are written on the case sheet. When the original medical record is returned to the file, the copy is removed from the file and destroyed. To protect the privacy of the patient, it is very much important that a medical record is copied. The copy must be treated with the same respect as an original and must be destroyed on the return from the court. These steps apply for the original and photocopied medical records. For the retention of the medical records, usually records are being retained for the policies of the record depending upon the space availability within a hospital, but every hospital more or less maintain OPD records up to the 5 years, IPT record up to the 10 years, and MLC cases up to the 30 years. As per the Forensic Department of India, there is a chance of legislation arising for the medical purpose of negligence records should be preserved for at least 25 years, especially because there are rules where the minors have to right to sue the doctors with 3 years from the date of majority and for the injuries sustained due to the negligence of the doctor during the period of his minority. So that is very much important if the child is minor and some cases are of the father and his mother and other relatives. So for these type of cases, these records should be maintained up to the 25 years. Other medical legal important records, it should be preserved up to the 10 years, after which they can be destroyed after making the index and recording summary of the case. Routine cases, record may be preserved up to the 6 years and completion of the treatment up to the 3 years after the death of the patient. There are certain records in the hospital which are public interest. They are transferred to the public records library after the 50 years for release to the public, and those involved confidentially to the individual and released only after the 100 years. Medical Record Committee having some responsibility about the monitoring and audit of the medical records. So the Medical Record Committee, what it is, that is established, which is responsible for the all matters that is related to the concern of the medical records and provision of the medical record services in the hospital. The member of committee should be consist of the doctors of the survey and medicine and nursing administration, management staff and medical record officers. And what are the responsibility of these? The review of the medical records to ensure that they are accurate, clinically that is clinically confirmed and complete the readily available for the continuous patient care, medical legal requirements and medical research. Next is for the ensuring the medical staff complete all the medical records of the patient under their care by recording the discharge, diagnosis and writing the discharge summary where it is required for the each discharged patient within the specified period of time. Determine the standards and the policies for the medical record and the medical record services of the healthcare facilities. The recommended actions when problems arise in relation to the medical records and medical record services. Determine the formation of the medical records and approval and control of introduction to the new medical records that forms used in the healthcare facilities. So these all forms should be cleared by the medical record committee before being put into the use. Got it? And assist and support of MRO is licensing with all staff and department in the healthcare facilities. Now, what is the responsibility of the medical record officer? There must be some responsibility, so what could be it? So the management medical record department that includes the central admitting and inquiring officer. They develop for the development, analysis and technical evaluation of the clinical records, and they also have enough power for development of secondary records, that is indexed of the various types, and preservation of the medical records, development of the statistics, assistance to the medical staff, and to cooperation with all departments in matter of record, and pest control measure at the equal interval. After that, quality indicators of the medical record department is also we should maintain properly. So what it is? Are the medical records filed promptly? Is the medical room clean or tidy? Are master patients' index card filled promptly? And MRO checks the information on the MROs check the information on the records within a doctor, and all the discharges returned to the medical record department day and after discharge. Are the medical records complete? Are medical records forms filled in the correct order? All the medical records complete within a specific time after the discharge? All the medical records code correctly? Or they have to check all the discharge for the last month code by the middle of the next month? And or are the monthly and the yearly statistics collected within a specified times? These all the things they have to check. That means they have a power to check used for the quality and indicator of the medical record department. Different type of infrastructure is also required for the MRD. That usually the space that is allotted for the MRDs, that is of area is 1 square meter per bed, but that depends on the level of the computerization and computerization. These are all other formalities which we have to use for the making of the different records and their this. Before moving for the further, what is the importance of medical records? We will discuss an overall things that why this record and overall is required. So record actually required in the all aspect, and that is written in computerized basis. That is the process of making every client record. That is called the record charting, record documenting, the clinical record. So records are required for all in all aspects, like in the legal documents, and we can say the client care. We can say the patient care. We can say the client care. So that is that we can apply anywhere. So previously we have all discussed about the patient record. Now we will discuss in the form of the client also. Okay, so what is the purpose of the client record? That is for the communication, that is for the planning care, client care, and that is an audit health agencies. So the records serve as a vehicle for different health professionals who interact with and client communicate with each other. Second, why it is required? That is also required for the each health professional use the data for the client's record to plan the care of client. And third one, for the auditing of the health agency, this record is required for the quality assurance purpose. And for the research, the previous record that is also helpful for the research purpose, that information that a record can be used as references for the further studies. The treatment plan for the number of clients with the same health problem yield the information that is helpful for the next patient for to treat them. First one, you can say the education. The record can be frequently provided by the comprehensive view in the client, the illness, effectiveness, and the treatment strategy. So these also affect the outcome of the illness. So to provide the practitioner with data required, that is also useful for the professional services and for the improvement of the families also. So the record indicates the plan of the future also. Now, what are the guidelines for the recording of any kind of things, any kind of data? So, before making the client record, we have to first think about the date and the time, the documents, date and time of the each recording. That is very much essential. That is accurate around the 24 hours and 24 hours of the clock. That is AM or PM. The timing, that is of agencies, of policies, after the frequency, documentation. That is also useful before providing the nursing care. Third is called as legibility. That is also useful for the entire must be legal. And fourth one is called the permanence. To all entries make in the dark ink so that the record is permanent and change can be identified by the person also or corrective agencies. And this correct spelling, that is also essential for the accurate recording. Incorrect spelling, that is give the negative impression of the readers, and that can also question mark to the hospital staff efficiency. And signatures. For the each record, appropriate officer is responsible for the taking the approval and sanctioning of their seniors and other documentation that should be signed by the appropriate authorities. Next is the accuracy, that is of client name or a patient name, that is of client name we are also saying because if we in concern of taking a policy, so patient name is changed with the client. Of the different all team members. In the term, they are specified by the agencies also. We have to make the correct chart also. And recording is documentation that should be signed by the appropriate authorities. Next is the accuracy, that is of client name or a patient name, that is of client name we are also saying because if we in concern of taking a policy, so patient name is changed to the client name and identify the information should be stamped or the return of each page of the clinical report. So, okay, so before making any entries that we have to check and correct chart, we have to make the correct chart also. When recording, the mistake is made, draw a line through it and write a word mistaken entry above next to the original entry with your initial name that do not erase, do not correct with while correcting few and every line but never between the line. Okay. Next is sequences. So document should be entered that we have discussed previously. What could be the sequence for the maintaining the documents. So document eventually order can be maintained by the order itself and appropriate record that is useful for the formation that pertains to client health problem and care. So recording irrelevant information may be considered as an invasion of the client's privacy. Now, completeness. Not all data that nurse obtain about the client can be recorded. The information that is recorded that is helpful for the client, for the health, and for all the person of the team that always be maintained in the proper way. Like client problem or patient problem, nursing attendance, nursing intervention, comments with different responses, etc. Now, consciousness recording needs to be very brief as the complete to save the time for the communication, acceptance of terminology, good use only the commonly accepted abbreviation symbol that is standard symbol that should be used that is readable by the all team members. In the term, they are specified by the agencies also. For the legal prudence, accurate, complete documentation should be legal. Protection to nurse and client, other care gifts and healthcare facilities, and the client. Different types. Before given to the instruction to the nurses, we have to discuss about the different thing of about the location and hours of the operation for the maintaining of the different records and these things. What is the role and importance of medical records? We should have an idea about that. So medical record department always should be there adjacent to the front office And medical record department have to be functional for the 24 hours in all days to create a medical record immediately. And next important thing is that about the MRD, bridges and gap between the medical and non-medical department, enables the continuity of the care to the patient without difficulties. Headed by the MS has a skilled person termed as a medical record technicians and others. That is also governed by the medical record committee. For the department to function efficiently, the medical record must be accurate, complete, and timely. And of course, the care gives the child to the legibility also. And the primary role is safeguarding and record and to issue them into the demand. What about the guiding and principle of the department? The hospitals shall maintain the adequate medical record for every individual who is evaluated and treated as an inpatient, outpatient, emergency patient for all others. And medical records shall be readily accessible for the providing continuity to patient care by the medical and other staff and permits the retrieval of the information for the medical education also. So about the code of ethics, medical staff bound to professional all the things and oath, and paramedical staff, medical records, professional nurses and other paramedical staff to maintain, and they have to maintain the confidential things, not to abide by the ethical principles. Why these medical records are useful? Because of there is a lot of uses, like that is useful to the patient for his and her further follow-up and treatment. Medical record is safeguard for the physician and surgeon from the integrity. The medical record is useful for the teaching of the postgraduate and undergraduate. The medical record is also useful for the research purpose, and that is also used for the health program also. And medical record is useful for the administration to manage the hospital and controlling the hospital system. And hospital statistics, that is a proof of work done for the current and future planning, and disease and procedure indications, outdoor patient, turnout patient, bed occupancy rate, and death rate, death under the 48 hours, death more than 48 hours, that maintain, that gives all the things for that. So, lastly, we have to discuss about one thing more, like you can see that different type of records we can also use, like mark sheet, other records, progress reports, some SOPs are there, and some registers should be there, like birth register, death register, hospital OPD register, stock register. And for the community purpose, there is a lot of things that we have to maintain. Mother care register, monthly report register, general information register, school health register, and eligible couple registers, all these things. That all the separate areas should be there in front of the office, and you can see that the importance of this. And for the making of reports, you can see that reports is also very much important in this making. So you can see that accidental report and change of the shift report, transfer report where the patient is transferred from transferred cases, also from where the patient is transferred to our hospital, telephone records, and telephone orders, nursing rounds, how much rounds the nurses has taken. So care for the documents. These all are the things which we are maintaining through the record, and that provides the information to others. And lastly, I want to just discuss about the lab report. What is lab report? The lab report is a complete and detailed record of the experiments or the test. The information that is provided in the lab report should be specific enough that is, reader would be able to replicate the experiment or the test. And what is the part of lab report? That is cover page, that it includes the title and who has done this, introduction, statement of the objective, material method, results, discussion, references, and appendix. That is in detail, that is used for the research purpose, for the day-to-day purpose. We have to make the cover page, introduction, what the method we have used, what are the results, and matter of discussion is only with the doctors. So this is all about the today's lectures. I hope you got all information about the preparation, how to prepare the record in the lab, how to prepare the record of the different department of the hospital. So thank you very much for being with me. Have a good day.